Today I'm going to demonstrate some of the features in Quantum Beta 0.1.1.2. In this development cycle we did a considerable amount of work with the selection manipulation, and also we changed the way the grid displays so that we can now see the repeat on the grid. So I'm going to start by opening a blank document, and I'm going to go into to toggle the repeat display, and since a repeat is not configured, it pulls up the graphic repeats dialog so I can configure the repeat now. I'm going to set this to a half match repeat. Zoom out a little ways, and I'm going to use my line tool and turn up the brush width a little bit, and I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to try to touch them end to end. Then grab the nubs, the little control nubs on the line. I'm going to get a nice little curve on this. Zoom in a little bit, make sure I've got my ends matched up, and hit enter to confirm the line created. So at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the grid display so I can see my repeats. And right now when we're zoomed out, the grids display the repeats, but as I zoom in you'll see that the grid displays 1 inch increments, and then if I zoom in further it'll show half inches and then pixels. In the future the grid's going to be customizable so that we can see all of the so that we can set the increments between them. We can also set the color and how they come and go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition this design, because if you look at the single design at this point, it cuts across the corners of my design. I'm going to reposition it so that the curve comes through the design, and I'm going to do that using the Move Pixels tool. Without a selection, if you just click and drag with the Move Pixel tool, what it does is it essentially creates a selection of the entire document and then allows you to position it. So I'm just going to set it so that the squiggle passes right through the tile there. Now when you use this method of moving the entire document's layer, it actually creates a selection for the entire document, and then after you're done manipulating it, you just hit escape to clear that selection. So now in single tile, this is what I have to work with. So I'm going to do that same thing, but I'm going to use the Move Pixel tool, and this time by holding Control I'm going to duplicate the selection to create new duplicate pixels. So basically it lifts the selection by copying it. Hit escape to deselect, and then use the Move tool to position the entire document again. Now I do want to emphasize that when you use the Move to manipulate the entire selection, it's essentially creating a select all, which by default right now it happens at the first tile, which the first tile is the one that starts on the 0, 0. What internally we're referring to it as the first tile. In the future this is going to change so that wherever your cursor grabs is where the select all happens. Also, if you go to Edit and choose Select All, the area that gets selected is the entire document within the first tile, which, like I said, that starts on the 0, 0 at the cursor. In the future, I'm sorry, at the corner of the document. In the future, the Select All is going to select the tile that the cursor is within, so that wherever you happen to be working, that Select All will take place. Right now it can be kind of tricky if you've panned a ways and you do Select All or Control A, the selection will be captured in the first tile. So you'll always get the first tile on the screen if you toggle on and off the repeats. When you toggle them back on, your first tile will be in the upper left hand corner. In the future what happens is when you go from single tile mode to repeat mode, the first tile will be centered on the screen and your view will look the same as whatever you happen to be looking at when you change modes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this layer and duplicate it. Oopsie. I'm going to use the duplicate layer command, create a copy of this layer, and I'm going to, with that layer active, I'm going to use the move pixels, click once to select all. You can also use Control A to select all, and I'm going to use the right click on the corner control to rotate the selection until approximately lines up with the other. Hit escape to clear the selection, or Control D to deselect, and then I'm going to use the move tool without any selection to manipulate the entire layer to get this onto my screen. Now, the two layers I've created, I'm going to merge down to create a single layer, and then I'm going to use the move tool again to position this in the center of the repeat tile. So toggle off, that's what my document looks like now. Now that they're, turn off the grid, now that they're the same layer, I'm just going to use my brush tool, and I'm going to take off a little bit of these guys just like that. Switch to the pencil, do a little cleanup. Now it's important to note that when you're cleaning up with the brush or the pencil, you want to make sure to use the right click to erase the selection instead of drawing with white. And this will, notice my color is always black. And the reason is because the pixels that are out here where the ribbon doesn't exist are not actually white. They're actually transparent to see through to the background color, which in this case is the home color. And so drawing using tools with the right click essentially draws to transparent, which means that we're not going to actually paint white pixels. This will make more sense when we start to switch the background color.